Gentlemen, what is going on today? My name is Ryan Mickler, and I am the host and the founder of the Order of Man podcast and movement. Welcome here and welcome back. We're kicking off the new year. I hope you guys are on top of it. I hope nothing changed, actually. I hope you just rolled over the effectiveness and the hard work and tenacity that you exhibited, hopefully towards the end of last year, and you just rolled it right into this year. If not, now's the perfect time to get started. So get after it. We got a lot to talk about today. I don't want to do too many announcements because what I'm going to share with you is critical and very important on your path to development and progress and becoming the type of man you have a desire to be in 2021. So let me just share a few quick things and then we'll get right into it. I wanted to mention, as I have over the past several weeks, that I'm involved in a special project with Origin Maine. You've heard me talk about Origin and these guys for 2 years now, maybe even a little bit more than that. And we are working together on a special and unique beard oil. Now, this is 100% sourced and made in America, even down to the bottle, the packaging. The packaging, it's this really cool cardboard packaging with some very impressive design. You'll see it soon. Was actually just made right down the road here in Maine. So 100% made and sourced in America, just like everything they do. And I've worked with them on formulating 3 new scents that I think you're going to like, that I think are going to be effective, and that I think are going to help your glorious beard. Primarily, the reason that I use beard oil, not only does it look good, but I need to get rid of the itchiness. My face dries out, it gets flaky, and I know if you guys are trying to grow a beard or have a beard maybe a little shorter than mine, you get to that itchy stage, and the beard oil will solve all of that. So make sure you check it out. It's not released yet. It will be soon. If you want to be on the advance notice list with some other perks that are going to be available here in the next several weeks, then go to originbeardoil.com. Originbeardoil.com. Drop your email in. That's all you need to do for now, and I'll give you your marching orders as we roll the thing out. So originbeardoil.com. All right, guys, let's talk about the conversation today. As you can see, or probably did see, the title of this podcast is Who is Your Battle Brother? So I'm going to explain what a battle brother is. I'm going to explain why it's important. We're going to talk about what to look for in a battle brother. Where do you find these guys? And then also, how do you approach or develop this battle brother relationship? So I was introduced to the battle brother concept when I was in the military. I joined the Army National Guard in 98, I believe it was. Went to basic training in 99. And when I was there, we learned this concept of the battle buddy, which I don't like that term, battle buddy. Still the same concept. We call them battle brothers here in the Order of Man, and specifically our exclusive brotherhood, the Iron Council. And the concept of a battle brother is somebody to hold you accountable, somebody to go through the battle with, somebody who's going to make sure you're doing the right things and you're staying on task and you're staying on point and you are where you need to be, and has this relationship with you of wanting you to improve and wanting to be held accountable to improve. And I know as I question and ask the guys in the Iron Council, which again is our exclusive brotherhood, why they joined the Iron Council, the primary answer, the number one answer, is accountability in some form or another. So if that's the case for the guys that join, I have to assume that's the case for many of you who are simply listening, that you also want accountability in your life, and that if you are to achieve the level of success that you have a desire to achieve, then you're going to need some systems and structures and support and accountability built into place. That is what a battle brother will do. Now, inevitably, when I use the term battle and battle brother and things like this, a lot of people think that maybe it's just hyperbole. Well, it's not. It's not. Is life a battle? It's not a battlefield in the literal sense, not for 99.5% of us anyways, but it certainly is a battle. It's a battle against ourselves. It's a battle against the natural man, which I've talked about at length over the past nearly 6 years now. It's the lazy, weak, pathetic, cowardly, soft version of ourselves. That's the natural man. And you better believe there's a battle against that guy. That's an internal battle. But we also have external battles. How do we keep ourselves and our families physically safe and out of harm? How do we ensure that the government does not encroach upon our rights as citizens of this country and citizens around the world? How do we ensure that we are making the type of money that we're going to make or have a desire to make? How do we ensure that we keep our health in optimal position so that we're less likely to deal with COVID potentially or any other disease or illness that anyone may deal with? These are all battles that you have to face. And yeah, you could look at it as hyperbole, or you could decide you're going to take this seriously. And I don't think there's enough of us as men that are taking it seriously. We go through life so cavalier and so complacent, and we think everybody's going to solve our problems for us. And I see a lot of victimhood going around. Woe is me, and all these things happen to me, and that's why I am the way I am, and that's why I'm not experiencing the results that I want. And that's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. You are a grown man. You have the capacity and the capability to thrive and to excel in spite of your difficult circumstances. But if you don't take it seriously, then of course you're going to fall short. So I choose to use the word battle not as some sort of marketing tactic or ploy, not as hyperbole, not to make it sound more important than it is, but because that's truly what it is. And so every day I wake up and I arm myself for battle, some days more serious than others. And I have the systems and I have the structures and I have the support and I have a battle brother and multiple battle brothers in place to ensure that I'm capable of dealing with what life will throw at me on any given day. And I know that's what you want too. And this is where a battle brother comes into play. Who's going to hold you accountable? Who's going to hold your feet to the fire? Who's going to tell you the things that need to be told to you? And help you and him thrive. And by the way, this needs to be reciprocal. So as I'm talking about this, here's what I want you to do. I want you to think about, whether you write this down or just think about it in your head, and inventory the men in your life. That could be your father or a brother, a colleague, a coworker, a friend, a teammate, whatever. And ask yourself, does he meet these 5 criteria? Because if he doesn't meet these 5 criteria, either he needs to develop into that for you, and you potentially need to develop into that for him, or you need to find somebody else who's not a friend, not a buddy, not a father, not a brother, but a battle brother. And when we're talking about that term specifically, these are the 5 criteria that they need to meet. Number 1, is this individual successful? Right? You don't want to band with someone who's not successful. And by the way, they might not be successful in every facet of life, and they don't need to be. But is this individual successful in the area that you're trying to improve? So if you're trying to dial in your fitness, your battle brother can't be somebody who's 100 pounds overweight and hasn't got his fat ass off the couch for the last decade. This needs to be somebody who's got that fitness dialed in, who's got their nutrition on point, who sleeps, who recovers, who has the endurance, who trains, who exercises, who moves his body. That's what you're looking for. So if you don't have that individual in certain facets of your life, and by the way, as we're early 2021, a lot of you guys are thinking about health goals, financial goals, family goals, et cetera, you need to see where the battle brothers fall on a scale from 1 to 10 in each of these areas. And if they aren't dialed in where you want to be dialed in, could be a great friend, could be a father or a brother, but certainly not a battle brother. Number 1 is, are they successful? Number 2, is this individual a truth teller? Or is this simply a yes man? Because I'll tell you what, it feels really good to have people around you who say, yes, you're the best. Oh, you're great. Oh, you're wonderful. Oh, you're awesome. But that doesn't really serve you. That doesn't really help you. In fact, it hinders you because it creates this inflated ego, which is actually a big enemy for you. Okay, so you need somebody who's going to tell you the truth, who isn't afraid to speak the truth, who isn't afraid to call you on some BS when you need to be called on some BS. That's not comfortable. It's not easy. In fact, you, the natural man, like I alluded to earlier, will likely even maybe subconsciously reject these individuals. You'll call them assholes and you'll call them insensitive, and you won't necessarily think they're in your best interest. And so you'll reject these individuals even if on a subconscious level. What I want you to do is open your mind to the possibility that maybe they aren't an asshole, maybe they aren't insensitive, but maybe they actually care more deeply about you than the other people who are just running around stroking your ego and telling you how wonderful you are. Because that's way easier. It's way easier for you, and it's also easier for the individual because there's no risk in that. Right? If I'm talking to you and I'm telling you everything's wonderful, there's no risk in that for me. But if I tell you, hey, you know what? You're looking a little chubby around the midsection. Hey, you know what? You bought that car and you probably can't afford that car. Now there's a risk to me, right? I'm going to lose potentially your respect, our friendship. So there's a risk. But me telling you those things doesn't mean I don't care about you. It could, but it doesn't automatically, intrinsically mean that I care less about you. In fact, if anything, it could signify and indicate that I care more about you, that I'm not worried about your ego, that I'm not worried about you so much feeling good about yourself, but that I'm worried about your success and your livelihood and you thriving and winning. So as difficult and painful and awkward and uncomfortable as it is to have people say you're not as good as you think you are, that's exactly what you need out of a battle brother. So number 2, are they a truth teller? Number 1, are they successful? Number 3, do they care? Are they caring? Because if they don't care about your success, if they don't care about you, if they don't care about their own success, why would you want to be accountable to this individual? Why would that individual want to be accountable to you? They wouldn't. All right, they're going to be flippant and they're going to be cavalier about your approach and their approach to life, and it isn't going to be conducive to a successful relationship or conducive to your success in general. So does this person care? And look, guys, if you're finding that you have people in your life that you like and you want to be around, but they don't meet these criteria, I'm not saying you need to get rid of them from your life. It's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is that this is just not a battle brother. It's something else, which is okay. You know, it's okay to have some buddies who, you know, maybe aren't necessarily interested in this. It's okay to have your family relationships or your coworker and colleague relationships that aren't in line with this. That's okay. But you need to fill this other position, your battle brother. Number 3, do they care about your success and their own? Has to be both, all or nothing. Number 4, are they vested? Okay, so we have they care about your success, and the next one is, are they vested in your success? Do they have the time, the capacity, the energy, the resources, the ability, the desire? Is this somebody who's vested in this? And sometimes you don't know whether or not they are until you get going, but you need to be constantly coming back to this criteria and asking, is this person still vested in my success? Is this person still vested in what we're doing here? You know, I've been part of relationships and masterminds and programs and courses and coaching where that relationship initially met the vested criteria that I'm talking about here, and then it gradually changed. You know, this individual wasn't interested anymore, or they were going their own way, or what I needed was no longer what they were offering. And so we need to understand that relationships and this dynamic changes over time. It's not like you have this one or this handful of individuals excuse me, who meet these criteria, and then it's that way for eternity. Now it's going to change over time as your priorities change and theirs change. And so we need to understand that some relationships are just meant for a time, and others will last for years and decades, and some maybe potentially will last your entire life. But we're not going to pledge our fealty or our unwavering loyalty if these individuals aren't going to continue to meet these criteria. And being vested in you and your success and their own, if they're not doing their own work, they're sure as hell not going to help you with yours. Are they vested? So we've got successful, we've got truth teller, we've got caring, we've got vested. And then the last criteria that I want to share with you, and there's more, but I think these are the biggest 5, is, are they accountable? Are they accountable themselves? To themselves? Do they want you to hold them accountable? I told you earlier, I think this needs to be a reciprocal relationship. This can't be a one-way streak unless it's coaching. If it's coaching, that's a little different. If you're paying for a coach or an advisor or a consultant, counsel, okay, that's different. But that's not a battle brother. I have coaches. Okay, I have advisors. And I'm not holding them accountable. They're holding me accountable. And that's the relationship. But then I have battle brothers, and we're holding each other accountable. You do this. You said you were going to do this by this date. I said I was going to do this by this date. Let's reconvene at that date and make sure that we're on track. I'll shoot somebody a text, or they'll shoot me a text. Hey, man, how you doing? Did you go to training today? Are you losing weight? Are you building your bank account? Are you doing whatever it is you said you were going to do? And I get to do the same thing back. Now, if this individual is not interested in being held accountable, probably not battle brother material. Coach material, sure, advisor material, but not somebody who's going to walk shoulder to shoulder with you through the battle of life. And that's what we're looking for in a battle brother. So we've got successful, we've got truth teller, we've got caring, we've got vested, and then we've got somebody who's also accountable. So now the question is, where do you find these individuals? Right? You guys are on board with this. You realize, okay, life's a battle. I get that. I realize that we're going to be significantly more effective if we do this shoulder to shoulder. I get that. I'm looking for these individuals who have these 5 criteria and characteristics. I get that. Now, where the hell do I find these guys? And isn't this the $1 million question? Because as I started the Iron Council, which I've talked about a little bit here today, the reason I started that is because it was very difficult for me to find the kind of men that I'm talking about today in my area. Now, granted, I wasn't as active and proactive as I could have been, but it was a challenge for me to find these guys. So I created it, and that's what the Iron Council is. You can join us. You're going to find battle brothers there. In fact, we have all of these systems and processes built into place. And if you're interested in learning more about that, you can go to orderofman.com/Iron Council. Orderofman.com/Iron Council. You can learn more. We've got a lot of value over there. But if you're not interested in that for whatever reason, okay, that's fine. Just make sure that you find a battle brother outside of this. So where do you go? You go where successful people go. That's it. Actually, let me back up. Before you get to that point, I would inventory people in your life. There's already men in your life who could potentially fill this role, and you could fill the role for that individual. But you're not thinking about it on that level, right? You're thinking, oh, that's a buddy. That's a guy I go to the games with or go to the bar with, or that's the guy that, we do that thing together on. Okay, that's fine, but you need to start thinking about how you can elevate this relationship to that of a battle brother, not just a buddy or a friend or somebody you drink with on Friday night. Okay, you want a battle brother. So inventory the people in your life who currently could potentially fill that role and ask yourself, does this individual meet the criteria? If they do, good, we'll move to the next step here in a minute. If they don't, then that's okay. Keep the relationship the way it is if you have that desire, but it's time to look somewhere else for the battle brother. So the next step I would say is then you go to where people are successful. And where do the successful people go? They go to the gym, they train, they lift weights, they move their bodies, they hike, they explore, they adventure, they go outside, they have hobbies, they shoot archery or firearms, they have desires and ambitions, and they're learning, they go to conferences, they attend these conferences, they go to courses, meetings, business luncheons. This is where successful people go. So I'm not going to spell it all out for you, but right? If you're looking for somebody who's successful in business, where would you go? Well, you could try Chamber of Commerce. You could try BNI. In fact, I had Dr. Ivan Meisner on the podcast several months ago. He's the founder of BNI. I was part of that organization for roughly 6 years, and I banded with a lot of successful people. In fact, I made business partners from those meetings. So you got to go where the successful people are. Ask yourself, what is it that I want? Next, where do people who are experiencing those results congregate? Do they go to conferences? Do they go to courses? Do they go hiking or hunting or what? What is it? And you can even find these people in Facebook groups. You can find these people in the Iron Council. You start figuring out where they are and insert yourself into the conversation and the experiences that are already happening. You're going to start identifying men who could potentially walk shoulder to shoulder into this battle, into the fray with you. So go where they are. Inventory your current circle, and then go where the successful people are. You're going to find these individuals. They're going to be there, but you have to exert yourself. You can't say, I don't know. It's hard. I don't know where they are. I don't have anybody. Come on. Exert yourself. You want 2021 to be successful? Exert yourself. Put yourself out there. Be uncomfortable so you can find these people. All right. And the last thing I wanted to talk with you about today. So we've gone through the concept of a battle brother. We've talked about whether life is a battle or not. We've talked about what to look for in a battle brother. We've talked about where do you go to find these guys. Now, how do you approach them? All right, this is awkward, right? Because if you just go up to these guys and say, hey, John, I've known you for about a month, and I wanted to ask if you'd be my battle brother. What the hell are you talking about? Right? Like if John doesn't listen to this podcast, he probably has no idea what you're talking about. So this is awkward. This is uncomfortable. So how do you find these guys, and then how do you approach them to become a battle brother? It's gradual, guys. It's gradual. I've got friends I met, for example, at the CrossFit gym, and I'd say hey or whatever when I came to the gym, and over a period of months, we got to know each other, asked about the family, asked about their goals and their desires and ambitions. We started working out together. I think it probably had, a UFC fight night or a golf foursome, and we got together, and I had a space, and I said, hey man, do you want to come over and watch the fights with us? Or do you want to go golfing with us? And so it gradually morphed and evolved into this relationship. And then he had children, a son about my oldest son's age. I'm like, hey man, let's go camping. And we went camping. And as we did this, we would start talking more and more about what are your goals? What are your desires? What are your ambitions? What's holding you back? What's keeping you from achieving that? So it isn't this thing where you're like, hey, will you be my battle brother? That's awkward. That's weird. It doesn't work. But you're having the conversations of a battle brother. What are your goals? What are your desires? What are your fears? What are you afraid of? What's holding you back? What's keeping you from success? Is there something I can do for you? Do you need some accountability? Hey, let's do this thing together. You said you're interested in learning archery. Well, so am I. Let's do it together and hold each other accountable to it. Hey, Order of Man has these battle planners. We've been talking a lot about goals, and Order of Man has these battle planners. And I was thinking as we're starting 2021, I was going to buy one. And I actually bought 2 of them. And I'd like to give you one. Maybe we can do this thing together and see if we can achieve some results walking shoulder to shoulder instead of, individually. It's not that threatening, guys, if you do it in stride, right? It's not this big awkward like you're asking somebody for a date or asking a dude to marry you. Okay? It's asking questions. Now you're going to find out pretty shortly whether or not you resonate with this guy and whether he clicks or not, because if you start asking about goals and desires and ambitions and fears and failures and the guy's clearly not interested in talking about this, cool, maybe he's just your golf buddy. And that's the extent of the relationship, and that's fine. And I've had guys like that. We don't click. He's not interested in what I'm interested in. He's not interested in developing in the same way that I am, and so that's fine. That's fine. But then through a series of these types of questions and more, I've articulated and identified and developed real relationships that fit this battle brother criteria. So, guys, I want you to think about that as we continue to roll into 2021. It's important. I think somewhere along the way, we bought into this idea of the lone wolf thing for men, and you look at guys like the Marlboro Man and John Wayne and John Wick and Jason Bourne. And, you look at these guys and they're portrayed as the epitome of masculinity. And what do all of them have in common? James Bond. They all work alone. They all work individually. And that's not the best way to do it. You could get there on your own, I think. You're going to need to have some help along the way, but you can get there without a battle brother. It's just not an efficient way to do it. And a lot of guys will say, oh, well, you can't rely and trust people. Well, that sounds like somebody who's hurt or wounded or has been deceived in the past. And maybe that's just an isolated incident, because I've got plenty of individuals in my life who lead me, who coach me, who instruct me, who guide me, who walk shoulder to shoulder as a battle. I've got plenty of those guys in my life because I actively have gone out and done it. And we as humans and as men have banded together for as long as we've been walking this planet in tribes, in groups, in what Jack Donovan would call gangs. And I don't care what term you use, but we've been walking together. And as the proverb goes, I believe it's Proverbs 27:17 or 17:27. I can't remember right offhand. A lot of you guys would know. Iron sharpens iron. You want to be strong. You want to be financially successful. You want to win. You want to thrive in life as a man. You need somebody to sharpen yourself against. And by the way, somebody needs to sharpen themselves against you. So ask yourself, are you this kind of individual? That's a good strategy. How do you find a battle brother? Become battle brother material. Not that a battle brother will find you, but that you'll actually be in the position to be that kind of individual for somebody else. It's the same thing when it comes to relationships with women. How do you find high quality women? You become a high quality man. That's not the only step. There's other steps that you have to engage in, but that's a pretty good start. So ask yourself, are you this individual? And then you can apply these 5 steps. Let's go through it real quick. The concept of the battle brother is somebody to walk shoulder to shoulder during the battle with you. The battle is life against the natural man, you, the weaker, lazier, more pathetic version of yourself, against the challenges that we'll inevitably face against internal and external factors. What to look for is somebody who's successful, somebody who's a truth teller, somebody who's caring, somebody who's invested in your and their success, and somebody who's willing to be held accountable themselves. Where do you find them? Look to your immediate circle and then turn outwards and go where the successful people go. By the way, let me know where you find those individuals, because that'd be good, because then I can direct other men there. And then the last is, how do you approach these guys? Gradually, slowly, organically. Don't force it, because then it's just weird and awkward and you won't do it. That's it, guys. Find a battle brother. Develop a battle brother. Become a battle brother yourself. If you're interested in joining the Iron Council and tapping into the battle brothers there, I believe we're at almost 800 or so guys now, which is crazy to think of. 800 battle brothers all doing the same thing, walking in the same way, in the same direction, in the same paths, holding each other accountable. It's a very powerful thing. You can check that out at orderofman.com/Iron Council. All right, guys, that's all I've got. I'll be back tomorrow with Kip for our Ask Me Anything. We'll be fielding questions from Instagram this time, which I don't think we've done in the past. So if you want to ask a question of me and Kip, then head to my Instagram account, Instagram.com/Ryan Mickler, or more accurately, just at Ryan Mickler. I don't know why I gave you the website. Just at Ryan Mickler. You'll find me. Ask your question on the post I made yesterday, and I'll field those questions along with Kip. All right, guys. Get yourself a battle brother. Become a battle brother. Go out there, take action, and become the man you are meant to be.